Do you dance like your mom? That would do those knees in.
That's why. That's why I walk like this. It's like cartwheels.
She plays
and high
guitar
heels.
like her too. She dances and plays guitar at the same time, just like her
Yes. Yeah, and turns cartwheels.
And turns cartwheels.
Yeah.
And all.
There you go.
That was beautiful. It was a beautiful film. I'm so
It's heavy.
so moved.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Thank you.
Well, thank you two for sharing your mother with us.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a family story, you know, and so my parents sort of engulfed the world as part of their family, and so it's hard not to feel as if you're connected and part of that family. I think if you watch that film, because there's a lot of honest feelings in it, it's like, you know, it brings you close enough if you got a heart, right? Yes.
Yeah, y'all probably got to see a part of Mom that you probably never even knew about. More than likely, I'm guessing.
Some of them do.
Some of them do. Some of y'all are
Berkowitz
old
in the
enough.
back, he does. John Jackson.
That was one of the questions that I had for both of you. As someone who knew your mom as intimately as anybody, did you learn anything or did you find anything that popped out for you guys?
In my case, I was really pleased in so many ways that include the years that she was married to my dad, Carl Smith, because I never knew them living together, right? So I've spent most of my life looking at those pieces of film to try and see what it was that my mom used to tell me about how much she loved my daddy and how heartbroken she was and stuff. And then I see it in this film, and it's like all the best bits, and it's like I totally get how they made me.
Yeah. It
See,
was
I
amazing.
I used to not get that.
It really was something else to see their interaction together, and the laughter and the spontaneity that Mom had, you know, in front of a television camera after they were, you know, already filing for divorce or maybe already divorced even. It was like they never turned off the laughter and the fun. And the fact is that I saw the same thing with Mom and Dad when they were struggling through his addiction in the 1980s. I saw them get on stage and still carry on as if everything was still there. The fact is that the love and the friendship was still there, and I'm sure it was for
I think that it was that, and it's like you can't, you know, Mom was an actress, right? But she never acted when she was on stage, other than her character thing. Yeah. That's just who she was. She could not help herself.
Yeah.
You know,
but she was. It's like when she turned on that country girl character. That was the little girl that used to, you know, poke fun at the cousins. You know, as she was jumping off the motorcycle going 45 miles an hour with her dad on the front,
or telling me that I can drive a tractor when I'm 8.
Yeah. Well, she was such.
You know, that's how she grew up.
She was an adventurer, and my wife Anna, she's like, why aren't you afraid of this or that? Why are you afraid to drive down this, you know, dark road at night, or this, you know, walk through this alley? And it's like, but it's because Mom was fearless.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. It's like, Dad sort of was too, but it was more my mom, really. You know. So.
Yeah, they were an excellent team, and I mean, I've never made any beans about this at all. As I love John just like he was my real daddy. He was my daddy, and I adored him, and I did pray for him before I ever really knew him. You know, it was ordered by June. Get down on those knees, girls. Pray for Johnny Cass.
Well, you couldn't help but love him. But,
he was so lovable and so sweet to us.
But Dad, you know, Mom commanded love in a different way. It was Dad was gentle in his own right, but Mom is like, you knew that she loved you if you were in her fold, right? Mm-hmm. If you were in one of her, as she wrote, her clediments. It's like you knew very well because clediments were things that she held dear, whether it were letters, you know, presents that she'd received, or people in her life.
Or the purse I carried tonight.
Yeah, the purse that she carries tonight.
I carried Junie's purse tonight. Mm-hmm. It's one of her clediments. Yeah, she just always loved.
Yeah, but you knew if you were one of her clediments, or, you know, one of her fold, you knew. Mm-hmm. She let you know.
What
do you want to know, Holly?
Well, I've got so many questions. And the more
we'll talk all night.
The more questions I have.
I think we wouldn't this late, but both of us.
We
are June Carter's children. We will talk all night.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
I'm just joking.
Kristen, this is such an amazing work. What drew you to it, and what were you hoping to show people? Did it change once you started?
I think that the first thing that drew me to it was, the archival footage. She was recorded and photographed and on camera from the time she was tiny. So, just seeing those early performances and how magnetic she is, it's like, then it's there, right? And then finding out more about her life story and the arc to it, and that, like, the end, like the perseverance, and the fact that, like, at age 70 she made it happen. I just think that that's so inspirational. And I also think, it did change, because I was always trying to figure out, like, the hows and the whys, and why was she like this, and who, like, what made her tick, what made their relationship tick. And it's, there's the myth of Johnny and June, which I think does them short shrift, and I think it does everybody's short shrift, because there's a lot of hardship and there's a lot of work that they put into it. And so, like, to see them at the end, like, see those fruits of that labor, it wasn't magic. It was, like, a lot of heartache and a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So that was kind of what I wanted to show.
I have to ask, your mom decides she wants to make a record at 70, and you're going to produce it or co-produce it.
Yeah, and that was pretty green back then. Yeah.
That was early in your career.
Uh-huh.
Were you more scared of not making a good record or letting her down?
It was, music was always a part of my life. So that I would be surrounded by more music and continue to be a part of the making of music was absolutely, there was no way you could have stopped me. I was going to do it one way or another. I don't know if I'd have wound up producing the records that I did after that, but I was going to do it. But Mom, I was writing my own music or whatever, but to be handed that responsibility, I'd worked with my father a little bit in the studio, but I think she knew that I knew music, just because I've surrounded myself, whether it was my choice or not, my entire life with people who are more talented than me. So I'm good at that. I'm good at picking out the people, or being surrounded by those people naturally, and it's so and being comfortable in those situations. I think she knew that, but she had faith, right? She had faith that I could be there and support her in the ways that she needed, and also, but J.J. Blair that was there was a producer, my co-producer. Without J.J., it wouldn't have been the record that it was, and because of the technical aspects of the way you record things, I didn't know jack about that at that point. Right, I didn't know which microphones to use. JJ, and that's so I've learned. But JJ was there, but he also knew sound, and he knew music in a different way than I did. And Vicki Hamilton, her vision of making it happen. I remember Mom coming to me. The name of Vicki's record company was Small Hairy Dog. Right. And she said, "So I'm going to put out a record on Small Hairy Dog," and I was like, "I don't know how you're going to carry it." I didn't know it. Right, but Vicki had the vision, of the belief in Mom. It was established there. I still work with Vicki, by the way, every once in a while. Yeah. She'll have a client that she's working with that'll come in and work in the studio. I just produced one not too long ago.
Well, can I say something about
Sure.
Small Hairy Dog?
Uh-huh.
Mama didn't like dogs much, but I remember when she was getting ready to sign with Small Hairy Dog, and she asked me, because I lived in England, and I knew certain things, and she said, "What do you think about me signing with this label, Small Hairy Dog?" And I went, "Sure." I'd never heard of it, for one thing. She didn't mention Vicki's name or anything,
right.
but she got real proud of it, because I said, "Mama, go for it. Go get them." And the thing that I love that you can see in this film too is that she took seriously the carrying on of the legacy of the Carter family. She always honored it, and she still did her own thing, and she instilled that in myself and my brother. And I'll always be so grateful for that, because that's what I'm doing now. Is I want to do that, and it's because of Mom.
Yeah.
Mom and Grandma and Helen need it. The whole bunch.
Sorry. You go.
No, like I said, I'll keep talking.
One of the things that I think is so amazing is it's Rodney Crowell, it's Marty Stewart, and
Norman
Blake.
Yeah.
And she's telling them how to play.
Yeah,
basically.
and Dave Rowe, who also was my father's bass player,
Right.
who's no longer with us. Dave Rowe just passed away not long ago. Rick Lano was playing drums.
She was gonna call the band the ex-son-in-laws.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
like one of the jokes that
That's
she
it,
made.
Yeah.
She asked my ex-husband, and he said no.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, Nick.
no,
Hey, I remember
Jim.
he was on the list.
He was on the list of ex-son-in-laws.
It was her idea to call it the ex-son-in-laws.
Yeah.
But it was-
Rodney
also,
and Marty.
kudos to Dual Tone Records, who also had the vision to stick with Mom, and also, of course, I think Vicki would have also, but she worked with Dual Tone on Wildwood Flower, and I mean, she had the overwhelming frailty during Wildwood Flower that is noticeable in my father's character. My dad was still there recording with her at Wildwood Flower. They did not stop. In the face of that adversary, in the face of that pain, they continued. They persisted. They endured. They didn't only do that, they excelled. I could only pray, right? I could only hope that at the end of my life I could get a quarter of that I've experienced and that I've seen. So anyway.
You have it, but-
being 70 and winning a Grammy gives me hope.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I think about your grandmother, Maybelle, and the Carter sisters, and both of you guys. She sort of blazed a trail of, she didn't care. She was just going to do it. She didn't seem to complain. And she was at a time when, and Mary Buffwhack talks so beautifully about it, gingham, crinolines, looking like Little House on the Prairie.
Yes, and bonnets. Her and I had a lot of conversations over bonnets when I was a small child. I didn't like them.
But she went out and did what she needed to do. She got divorced. She went to New York. She studied acting. And this may embarrass you. She was hot.
She's very hot.
She was incredibly hot. Elvis is flying to New York to push you around in a carriage.
You guys really produced that well, too, by the way. The whole Elvis thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd even almost believe it, that they might have had an affair.
I mean, there's a lot of
I mean,
Elvis
almost.
stories. We almost believe it. John Carter and I watched I Walk the Line the first time, and we were sitting next to each other. And when Reese opens the door for Joaquin to walk through, it's John and June, and she's obviously taking him to the bedroom. John Carter goes, "Wait a minute. I thought she only ever had sex when she got pregnant with
With us.
It's
Rosie.
like, we both were like, wait a minute, she only ever had sex 3 times for 3 years.
3 times, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, my mother, she did put on an air of innocence in her present day, and it's like I think you sort of might have felt it coming from Lisa Christopherson to talk about her being a matriarch or whatever. It's like you respected my mother if you were around, if you were like a woman around her, or if you were no matter man, whatever, whoever you were, you respected her because she had dignity. And it's like, and I think that, it's the deal. It's like that dignity was there. It could not be denied because there was something behind it. She wasn't less of a person because she made those choices or because she was divorced early, whatever.
I think she's
she
more
never
of a
lost
person.
that. That's it. It's like she never lost that dignity. So, but I think a lot of the world has seen it differently before, but we definitely don't have to because we know the truth, right? So, hey, rise up.
Are you happy?
I'm
Are
really
you?
happy. I'm happy because you two are happy, to be honest. Like, you're the audience that, like, I was most concerned about. So, because
Well.
it's like you gave me the gift of, like, telling the story about your mother. And from the beginning, you both, like, were like, we want to tell the real story. And we want it to be deep, and we want to show the pain, and we want to show, the hardship. And that is not something that is easy, and that's not something that can be taken for granted. So I'm so appreciative to both of you, and also putting up with me.
We're the most, of the 3 of her blood children. I'd say we're the 2 of us are the most conservative. If Rosie was here, she would be. She would be. She would be.
She would have found somebody to say
she
hi
would
to.
have. Rosie was a brilliant and beautiful person, and
She was,
I
I really missed her. Getting to see her in the film was great. I miss her all the time.
Yeah. And, but Rosie was the funniest of us, too. She really was.
You think we're funny,
Yeah,
huh?
you think we're funny. No, Rosie was amazing. But, and I feel like she would have liked it, too.
She would have.
She would have, yeah.
I know she would have. And if she didn't, she wouldn't be here. She'd be somewhere else.
Rosie, passed away the same year as Mom and Dad. And I can't remember
it was a
if you
hard
talked
year
about
for us.
Yeah.
If you'd had 5 minutes more, what's the one thing you would have put in the movie?
Oh my gosh. Well, there were like definitely things we cut out. There was like her talking about the furs, or the people talking about the furs that she bought people was really one of the things that I regretted having to cut out. She had like a big circular rack of furs. She'd come to New York and buy them wholesale, and she'd give them out to people. And so she gave Dolly Parton a pink mink, and Dolly's like, well, I can't wear it anymore. And I put it in the museum, and then people are getting upset, so can't put it there. And then Emmylou's like, yeah, she gave me one too, but I'm a member of PETA. So... and she was talking about her shopping and her collecting like that. I love that stuff. It's so charming.
I know her shopping is notorious. John always said she had a black belt in shopping. But really, we would come to New York and Mom would go shopping, and this whole ruse of giving away fur coats and selling them on the sly. No. It was so she could buy them. And so she would come to New York and she'd buy them, and then she'd put them in this in one of our bedrooms and on these racks, and then she would have like, I think I'll have a little tea for the ladies from Green Hills who can afford my furs, and basically it was so she could keep shopping
and have a chance to use her crystal.
Don't you think, John?
I mean,
she raised money and stuff.
Yeah,
She'd do.
yeah.
It was
in
different
New York
things.
City. But I go on and on about how. Mom and Dad had an apartment here, and so between '79 and '84, during the Mean Street era, we were here, and so I was here probably when you were living in London.
Well, I came over a lot because
but you were here a lot.
It was just a hop, skip, and a jump for Mom to say, "Come on and come shopping with me."
You were a safe haven back then too, during some of the insanity. But we would, it was either shopping or Broadway, or movies, or eating. Mm-hmm. We didn't do anything else because you couldn't walk the streets back then. We were scared to death, and so it was a different world. But Mom she had up and down Fifth Avenue. So it's on my mind when I come here, and I'm just talking to my wife about it all the time. She's listening right now, going, "What are you still talking about?"
Yeah, and Lady Gaga lives in her old apartment.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but.
I found that little tidbit out when I.
But the thing is, it's like whatever extravagance there may have been in their spirits, it's like that was there, whatever. But still, at the same time, they were successful because they put forth the effort, and then they never stopped loving. They did not lose the humility that was within their hearts. And if you met my mom, no matter what walk of life you were from, if you worked at the grocery store or if you were the first lady, you felt as if she respected and loved you as family, and so that's the reality of it.
Yeah, there's that one story that everybody tells that didn't make it in. There's another thing.
What Roseanne saying?
Roseanne wrote about it, and she got a phone call and went in the other room, was talking, and Roseanne was getting bored, and finally June came back, and Roseanne said, "Oh, who are you talking to?" She said, "I don't know. It's the wrong number." And so I think it was like, it was everyone was her.
She never met a stranger.
Yeah.
No, she never did.
Yeah, and Roseanne, by the way, I talked to her last week, and she said that she would be here if she felt like it at all, but she had surgery just not long ago. So anyway, her heart is with us also.
My questions, whatever. Is there anything y'all want to ask?
Raise your hands politely.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, yeah. So I don't know if you saw there when she went to the Nixon White House, she wore a white dress, and I saw it in the museum in Macy's Springs. They had it hanging up, and I've taken up sewing in the last couple of years, and so I decided I had to recreate it. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like her. She's like such a style icon that there are so many looks, and we were all kind of picking favorites. So there was one where she went on like Johnny Carson. She had this dress with this big feather breastplate. It was amazing. I love that, but I couldn't do that one, so I went for this one.
No, she could wear anything. And make it look cool. She also had an array of hats that Holly's sporting a hat
This is
tonight
my
in honor
homage.
of June.
We all have an homage.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Yeah, you've got your mom's purse. You've got your dad's shirt on.
Well, it is my dad's.
Yeah, it's your dad's shtick, but that's okay.
Yeah. No,
She loved him very
because
much.
it hides the stains, but there is one. It's his, it's not mine.
Are there any other yes, please.
What's the hard part about being June Carter Cash's daughter, son, or Johnny
that they're not on this earth anymore. That's the hardest thing for me. I still feel like my mom's always with me. I feel like John's looking out for me. I had a dream once, I'll make this as short as I can, but I dreamed once that I was crying and I was with John and we were in a mall. And we were like a soda shop, and it was so real feeling to me. And he said, "Baby, why are you crying, Sparkle?" Because he could always call me Sparkle. And he'd say, and I'd say, "I just miss you guys so much," and I'm crying. And he goes, "But honey, we're at the mall." It's like, I don't know what that means, but I said, "Is Mama okay?" And he said, "She's shopping."
There's plenty that helps. For one thing, it's like the love that other people have for our parents, for sure. I mean, I got an email. I've gotten emails in the past from 15-year-old kids saying that if it wasn't for the lessons that I learned from your family's music, I wouldn't be alive right now. Somebody that would have taken their own life. And that is like the kind of thing that's like gives me hope, gives me strength, and also it's like one thing that helps so much to make it easier to be the child of whatever. For me, anyway, are the words, and I've been writing about it today. The legacy that's left behind, the lessons that are still within what they wrote or what they said, they're still there, and that's a blessing to have that from. From a family member, no matter who it's from. It's like I can look at my parents' words. They happen to be my parents. They happen to be famous. They happen to be brilliant. But instead of looking to, because it's personal, right? And I could say, how do I make it through this? Perhaps I can go nowadays. You just Google it, right? Stilper. But Stilper. Yeah. But and then you take the wisdom from close to the heart, right? Yeah.
That's beautiful. One more question. If anyone has one last question, because I know, yes.
With the recurring theme of press on, do you feel like you embody that as your motto, or have you?
Absolutely, it's something that was imprinted in me as a little kid. It's like, okay, we got to press on. Come on, let's go. No matter how tired you are or cranky you might be or not, maybe didn't really want to be in that particular place at the time, as soon as Mama would say press on and smile that smile, everything kind of seemed like you can do it, whatever it is. Having a child when I was too young, that kind of stuff. She said, "Baby, just press on. It'll be okay." Always doing it,
I missed you when you left the house, too.
I only cried because I was leaving you.
Oh, yeah. I was cute. You saw it.
You were so cute, y'all.
I was cute.
I couldn't imagine a life without changing John Carter's diaper at the time.
Yeah, we'll just hang around long enough and give it another 10 years, maybe. I'm sorry.
Well played.
We're sorry.
No, wait. My wife's here.
It's all right.
Take care of me later.
Christina liked Carlene.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
Well, the love goes forward, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are the embodiment of all that love.
And we also are children. They're grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Yeah, my daughter Grace looks just like my mom, and just
really does.
As your granddaughter also.
Yeah.
And looks just like her. The same energy, same laughter, same joy. Anyway, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And so we see that. And
it's great to see that keep passing on.
Yeah. They don't even have to listen to the music. It's just in there somehow. Click.
I think the last song I ever sang with Mom was "Will You Miss Me When I'm Gone?"
Oh.
On the Wildwood Flowers record. Wasn't it that one?
Yeah, that's the one.
It's the last time
on.
I sang with her.
That's right. Yeah.
A record, so that got me tonight.
Yeah.
Always does.
Yeah. Emmylou songs, so beautiful.
The Emmylou, the strong hand is beautiful.
Yeah.
She has a spirit that's like, you can't stop it, like death can't stop it. And it's, all of those stories, like that story with you and Lisa at the end, it was something that she had said kind of earlier on, and I had it on like my list of questions for you, but it just came out. And
it's one of the most profound.
And we put it
times of my
together,
life.
and that's like the piece where it's like everybody kind of knew that it was really working, and Emmylou had said that too, and I texted Lisa. I was like, "Did you and John Carter ever talk about that?" And never before.
I talked to her about it after I knew you were going to put it in the movie.
I know. So there's moments where it's like, oh, that's June like popping in, and it was like, when Ronnie and Janine gave us pimento and cheese sandwiches, and I've never been fed so well on film shoots as on this.
I'm telling you what, you go to our Mom and John's house when I was poor, and I was poor for a little while, and I was a young mom, and I'd go there right around dinner time. And feed my family, because there's always a stew on the oven or something going on, or some biscuits in the mornings, and the good stuff. The good stuff. And see, everybody, I think a lot of people think, oh, it's such a fancy life. It's the myth or the story, the legend, or whatever it is, the fairy tale factor of it. They were very down to earth people.
Yeah.
When it really came down to it, very down to earth.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that told us about her squirrel recipe.
Oh, yeah, well, that's John Carter.
Yeah, no, I cook plenty of squirrel.
I found a couple of squirrels he's cooked before.
Yeah. But, Brunswick stew is one of America's establishing dishes. 200 years ago, that's all people ate were squirrels and rabbits and Brunswick stew. Now they just put turkey in it. So anyway, like I said, I'll talk about anything all night.
Yeah, we have.
But
we could get a couple stools and just.
Well, this is a gift. Is that country music is a storytelling art, like at its roots, and so we have like the best people in that genre as the people that I'm interviewing. So it was like an embarrassment of riches. It's like it's
Never
a huge
be embarrassed by riches, darling.
So they're going to need to flip the theater.
Okay.
But thank y'all for coming.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you all for being wonderful.
Congratulations. Seriously, that was great.